because I do go to the doctor probably more often than, you know, your average person because of my health history. I have to, you know, keep up on my follow-ups, my mammograms, and blood work. So just to make sure, you know, that I'm good and I'm not, you know, unbalanced in some areas. Making sure ultimately that, excuse me, making sure ultimately that the cancer doesn't come back and that we keep, you know, my white blood cells low. Like we don't want them to increase. And a lot of times white blood cells will increase when we have like the flu or something. So, you know, that gets a little tricky in that area. But yeah, so I'm going to just get ready with you guys. And sorry for the background. It is a little chaotic back there because I'm sitting in front of my window and I wanted to record a video in natural sunlight. So I don't know. Hopefully it's clear on both sides. But yeah, I've got a Betty Boop collection because I collect Betty Boop. I love her. And just some bath and body sprays and perfumes behind me. And a dresser slash makeup storage. So yeah, so hopefully it's not too busy for you. I am working on getting another camera so that I can blur stuff out in the background. So yeah, we'll go ahead and I've already primed my eyelids and I've done my eyebrows using my Tarte pomade and my Benefit brow pencil, and I used my Makeup Revolution concealer to prime my eyes and set with the Rimmel, my favorite setting powder in translucent. So we are just going to go ahead and get started on the eyes, and I'm going to just do a simple look, but I always say that. So let's just say I'm going to do a look using the Maybelline Soda Pop palette. It's pretty fun. It's got some pretty fun colors in there. You know, some orange and purple and brown. So you literally could completely pull off a fall look, I think, just using this palette. I don't see... Actually, you could pull out a full eye look using this palette. So let's pretend that all I have is this palette to work with, and I have to create an eye look with it. So yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and go in with the transition shade. And I think I'm going to start off with, I did set my brows already, or my eyelids, sorry. But I am going to try to start off with this like peachy color right here, and it's called Chilling. And I'm just going to place that all over my lid using windshield wiper circular motions. And like I said before, I like to take it up as high as I can because a lot of times I have to go back and make it a little bit higher because of the space that I have on my eye. So yeah, because it's, I don't know, you can't really see, it's a little peachy, but I just want this to be my transition shade and just basically a base for the other colors that I'm going to set down. I can't seem to talk today, so bear with me. I did get more sleep last night than the night before, so I am feeling better in that aspect. Drinking my Kombucha tea. If you haven't tried it, try it. It has a ton of benefits to it, and healing, you know, benefits, or just comfort benefits. And just, you know, Google it, read up on it. It's amazing. I love it. I wished I would have discovered it sooner, and but I didn't. But it's really helping me a lot with stuff like anxiety, sleep. Although it has a little bit of caffeine in it. Sorry, I played way too long with that transition shade because I can't see that it's going anywhere really because it's barely showing up. So we'll see how it plays out. So next I'm going to go into, I mean, it kind of jumps like from super super nude to, I'm gonna do, I think, I'm just wearing this little t-shirt, okay, is an emotion. Yeah, I think we know that it was an emotion. Of course I have to cut my little t-shirts because I just don't like collars, but yeah, so a little creation, just a little cheap t-shirt. So so I think I'm gonna go in with, it's called Crushing, and it's this orangey shade. It's actually orange. I say orangey, but it's actually, and I'm going to just tap off a little bit of that excess onto my little towel, and I'm just going to lay that down just right under where I laid. I'm not going as high up as that first transition shade, and just kind of putting it all over the lid. This palette isn't too bad. It's a little bit powdery, but I mean, not, you know, I've had worse palettes. I've had high-end palettes that, you know, really aren't my favorite, but sometimes you just get, you know, lucky in the drugstore. And I really like Maybelline. Maybelline is a pretty popular brand, and I've got several Maybelline palettes, foundation, and products. So yeah, that color's got a little more of a payoff, a little more pigmented. Of course, it is orange. And you don't want to go in with too much too soon. You know, you always want to go with the least amount of shadow or foundation, whatever you're putting on. You always want to go in with the least amount, just to avoid just a big disaster, basically, because if you go in with too much on your eyeshadow, you really can't, I mean, you could blend and blend, but you really can't fix it. And then if you just keep blending, it could become patchy, because you could start pulling up product off your eye or your face. So you just have to be really careful. Go in with a little, and you could always add more. So that looks pretty even to me. Okay. So now I'm going to, I don't think I really need to do this, but I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to buff out the edges on those two colors using this little Tarte fluffy brush, and just kind of blend those together. Okay, and then next I'm going to, I think I'm going to tap into this root beer. Like, I'm just going for, you know, a light, maybe a little light smoky eye. It's not going to take too much time. And I think I'm going to go in with this brush. I don't really know, there's not a name of these brushes, but they're really cool. They have like little snakes on them. They came in a set from Target, and I wish I would have kept the box. I don't remember the name of them, but they're pretty good brushes, and I like this one for just like stamping on dark shadows, because it's pretty firm. It's not too hard, but it does, looks like I got some black on there. Don't want to put black on my outer V. But yeah, so I'm going to focus that root beer. Don't want to add too much because I don't know how pigmented this is. I haven't used the root beer, so. And I'm going to just face it or direct it onto my outer V. Not going too high. Just kind of working it slowly into my crease. About a little more than halfway, but not all the way. I'm not really seeing the brown. pretty dark. Well, I mean, it looks pretty dark, but I'm seeing more black. And I know I wiped off the black that was on there, but I don't know if you can see that. So let's just keep going and see where it takes us. So yeah, guys, let me know down in the comment section what you would like to see me do for you guys. Maybe if there's a makeup look or a certain brand or a certain palette or something that you would like to see me review on camera, or you know, if you like, you know, to make, I like to mix it up, and that's kind of what I was, you know, gearing towards, is basically makeup, but because, you know, I do have a lot of, you know, of experience, and unfortunately, you know, a little too much experience in bad things. I mean, you know, health stuff and family stuff, and it's not a fun topic, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer channel. So I'm not really liking that color. It's like super patchy. And a lot of times it depends on how you prime your eyes and what you prime your eyes with, but I'm going to just go back with that orange, that crushing orange, and just kind of maybe add a little more, kind of work it around that brown. And it might look different on camera. I'm just kind of going over that brown and still leaving, of course, it's peeking through the orange, but it's just a little too black and almost patchy. And it does say root beer. So this eye here has a little more than this eye, so I am going to have to go in, and I'm going to try a different brush. I'm going to try another kind of like a pencil brush, but just with a fatter tip. And I'm going to go back into that root beer and see if maybe it's the brush. But it looks almost black on the brush. So let's just stamp a little bit more of that on. Could be asking for trouble. It's kind of making the eye look go a little bit south with how natural I kind of wanted it to look. So let's just scratch that. I mean, who says what natural is, right? It's kind of like normal. What is normal? Everybody has a different normal. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me just take that brush with the orange and just kind of work over it once again. I'm not going to add any more. I might add a little bit more orange here, just because it's a little higher on this side. And like I said, I don't like to keep a whole lot of space between where the eyeshadow ends and my brow. And I am going to add a brow shade, but you know, you kind of want it to go higher. I've got a big space. I have to utilize that space. And I don't always utilize that space. Like sometimes I'll just do mascara and a wing. Of course, I will prime my eyes just because I have so much discoloration. And I see a lot of girls not priming their eyes with a lot of discoloration. And I think sometimes if you're using, you know, a lighter shade of shadow and So like if you're using maybe a dark shade, purples, blues, those kind of colors, if you've got blue and purple, you know, discoloration in your eyes, it's okay to probably do that. I don't know how well it'll all blend together, but I don't even want to take the chance of doing that. If I ever get in that big of a hurry, I mean, will just do maybe a bronzer for eyeshadow and, you know, just leave it at that and call it a day. I am going to try to, I always like to just glam it up just a little bit. You know, nothing spectacular, but, you know, we always want to play and look cute. So I'm going to go into, there's Soda Fizz, which is a real pretty shimmery shade here. And then Toxic is also a real shimmery shade. I guess I could have did a swatch on this brown just so that you guys could like see how it's kind of patchy a little bit, but I mean, it does look brown, but just not the brown I just like true rich brown. I'm going to do a swatch of the Soda Fizz. Oh. And then a swatch of the Toxic to decide which color I want to put on the inner third of my eye. So there's Soda Fizz. This is Toxic. Kind of have to add a little more. I may have to use dampen my brush, but you can kind of see the shimmer. I think I'm going to go with this one, which is Toxic. Imagine that. We don't need toxic people in our lives or toxic anything, right? And just because it is kind of not crumbly, but it's a little bit soft. I think the shimmers and stuff always have a little bit, they're a little bit more flaky than the other shadows. So I'm going to just wet my brush using my Ready Set Radiant. I shouldn't be wasting this because this is precious stuff here. But it's all going in the same place. So, and I'm going to just focus it on the inner part of my eye. It looks kind of different on the eye than it does on the arm. And we know swatches are not like true to, you know, how it's gonna perform on your eye. It is really pretty. There we go. And I'm using this little brush from Alamar. It's just a little flat, thin. I like to use it as I think it's a concealer brush, but I mean, I use it for packing because it just works. It works so good. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and do the same on this eye. Spraying the brush again. Yeah, it kind of comes off better when you kind of sweep it, you know, like stamp it on and then just kind of sweep up with that fine tip into your crease if you can. And I know a lot of people have hooded eyelids, but I think you can still, you know, place your shadows. You might have to go a little higher, a little lower with them, but for the most part, I think that's pretty good, pretty decent. I'm not real impressed, you know, with the palette. I mean, the colors are pretty vibrant and pigmented, but, you know, like not every color is the exact same consistency, and it doesn't lay on the eye. Just using those, what did I use? The light, what was that? Chilling And then I use the Crushing Orange and then Root Beer and Toxic. So I think it's pretty good for a drugstore palette. It's real good for a drugstore palette. So I'm not going to put my eyebrow color on just yet because I'm going to do my eyelashes. So, and I'm not wearing false lashes again today because, again, going to the doctor, and probably going to stop at Whole Foods and pick up, or Sprouts. There's Natural Grocers, Sprouts, and Whole Foods. And you know, they carry all the like organic sprays and lotions and all that stuff, and they have this really good, I really like it. Let me just grab it. So it's the Rose Water and Glycerin, and it's classic, soothing, and pure skin lotion that you can trust. Harsh weather defense. So now that with winter coming, or winter is around the corner and it's been getting really cold, this is just a good hydrating. It's a liquid lotion, which it's actually clear, but the bottle's red, so it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, I mean, I've got like that much left. And like I said, I use a lot of hydrating sprays, a lot of moisturizers, the Clinique Hydro, what is it? Moisture Surge. I love that. The coconut water. Just any hydration is great. I don't think you can go wrong with any hydration on your skin. But this Rose Water and Glycerin, I really like it. It's super, it smells good. I mean, it smells like roses. And just add a little bit more moisture to my already moisturized skin, but you can never have too much moisture if you have dry skin. So with that being said, I don't think I'm going to do a wing, but I do think I'm going to create just a little base at where your eyeliner will usually go. And I'm going to use, where is that brush? Okay. So I'm just going to use this Morphe M432. It's just another little flat-headed brush, real thin. And I'm just going to get that root beer again, since we know it's kind of almost black. And get that little excess off. And then I'm going to, okay, remember, like tugging on your eyes, we don't want to do this, but sometimes you have to just, and you can be gentle when you're doing it. You don't have to, you know, tug hard. You just need it to be able to, of course, as those of us with skin that's not so firm, it helps to put product on your eyelids or eyeliner or waterline. And that's just kind of creating not a wing, but I might go out with it a little bit further. Let me just get this down. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do a wing. I think I'm going to just leave it as is. That way when I do my mascara, you know, a lot of times when I don't do a wing or don't do eyeliner and I do my mascara, like I'm notorious for getting mascara on my eyelid. Like I don't know, I see a lot of, you know, girls putting their shadow on, I mean not their shadow, but their mascara with, maybe they're not wearing an eyeliner that particular day. So yeah, so I'm just gonna leave that as is, but I see a lot of girls, you know, doing their mascara without any, you know, eyeliner on, and it's not even touching their lid, and I'm like, how? And as careful as I am, I don't know how I gotta figure out the magic trick. But I'm gonna go in with the It Cosmetics Superhero. I bought this probably 6 months ago, but then I got one in my BoxyCharm, a full size one. So I'm really excited about that, because these are pretty expensive. I want to say this is like $24, but I will I'll double check that and leave that in the comment section, or not the comment section, but the description box down below. I'm really struggling to speak today. So I kind of just wiggle it, you know, jiggle it, and then like blink. And I did feel it touch the skin, so if I didn't have anything set down there, I probably would have some little black dots. And yeah, you can go back in and, you know, when they dry, flick them off with a Q-tip, or Spoolie's really good to use if you've got like eyeliner or mascara or anything on your, anything black on your face, liquid. Wait for it to dry and then just flick it off. And I'm just giving it some good coats, just because I'm not wearing lashes, and, you know, I do want my eyes to, you know, be open. So this is a pretty good mascara. I mean, for not having lashes on, it kind of gives you some volume. The only thing that bothers me sometimes with concealers or, you know, mascara is, and this is like with the Tarte Shape Tape, and I love the Tarte Shape Tape, but you know, when you go into the bottle and you pull it out, or you go to push it back in, and then you get all this product that kind of comes on the sides. I mean, it's kind of a waste of product, so I'll just kind of go over it and then kind of slowly pushing it back in, just because I just don't want to waste product. And if you could see, there's some clumps on the side that probably just didn't see one day and didn't wipe off. So so let me just go ahead and do this other eye. And you don't have to be super careful if you've got something on your upper eyelid line. So yeah, back to the leaving me some ideas of what you would like to see, or what you would like to hear, or if you have questions about my health, about my life. I know I was very minimal. I gave you minimal information in my introduction video, and kind of just gave you a little in a nutshell type stuff. So yeah, just let me know down below anything you would like to know about me and that I haven't already said, or maybe you didn't catch it, and, you know, just any ideas, makeup related, or just real life issues. So that's all I'm doing for mascara. And I'm going to, I think first I'm going to prime my face, and I'm going to use the Smashbox Photo Finish primer. And I like this primer. It's pretty smoothing. I did say in my last video that I am gonna not use pore filler for, I don't know, I'm just gonna try it for like a week or two and just see how it does with my skin, because I do have larger pores, and the pore filler does fill the pores, but it leaves little white dots. And when you're working around where the sponge is not so bad. I think your sponge is probably going to be your best bet if you have large pores and you're trying to fill them and then cover them with foundation. Because when you use the brush, you're swirling and kind of pulling out what you've already put down as far as filling your pores. So I've been using just some really good, I don't know, silicone-y maybe. This is oil-free, so I have a little bit of oil in up between my eyebrows, not so much down in here. I have a lot of drying right in here, but yeah, this is a really good primer. It's just kind of silky, soft. It's kind of in the family of the Tatcha silk canvas. Of course, it's not Tatcha silk canvas, and that's my favorite. That's my all-time favorite. So we got that down, and generally I like to wait like a couple minutes to, you know, just let that kind of dry on my skin, and before I go in with my foundation. So today I'm going to be using the Maybelline Super Stay foundation, and it's in the shade 128. It's, I think, warm nude. Yeah, it's warm nude in the shade 128, and it's the 24-hour Super Stay foundation. And I'm going to be putting that on with a sponge today. I like to alternate, you know, how I do things and switch it up. I like to just, again, focus the product in the middle of my face first. Because I want the majority of the coverage here. Of course, I, you know, don't want it to end here, but I want it to blend, you know, towards my hairline. And this is pretty good full coverage. I'm not looking for super full coverage today, so I am a full coverage girl because I have so much discoloration. And I do have freckles. Like, it's not all just discoloration. I have some freckles and some beauty marks. I mean, I have a ton of beauty marks. Everywhere you can see, like, I don't know if you can see them, but I've got them everywhere. My arms, on my chest. I think they're just hereditary because I remember my grandma having a ton of, you know, beauty marks and even some moles. And so yeah, it's, you know, just trying to cover those marks. My brown spot, you can see that still. So, but again, my skin is really dry today, so I'm really not going to go in with a ton of product, just because I don't want it to be cakey. And we know how that can go south real fast. Basically with anything, like I said, going with the least amount of product, and then, you know, just if you have to build up or you want to build up, and you just want it to be evenly laid though. I mean, you don't want to have it heavy here and then this side it's thin, and you know, you want it to be even. So you got to beat your face up and make sure bringing it down your neck, especially if your foundation doesn't match your neck. If you're not showing too much skin, you can bring it down. You always want to bring it down, but at least diffuse this area here, so that you don't have that harsh line. But bringing it down just kind of blends it into the color of your skin. And from what I can tell, I think I need a little bit back here. Just a tiny bit. Yeah. I think because I'm in natural lighting, for some reason this side has a little bit more shade, and I don't like that. So I don't know if you can tell, it was kind of not smooth. It was kind of darker in some areas. So I'm just going to blend that a little bit further. As you can see, it's matte, but yet it's got a little luminous look, and that will also, your primer will also play a role in how your foundation sits. If your foundation is too heavy or too thick, too matte for you, you can always take a little drop of, I don't know, your favorite oil, or if you want it to be glowy or dewy, you know, you can always add your liquid highlight and just kind of blend it. I have like a little dish, and you know what I do is I use chopsticks. Well, I don't use chopsticks when I eat, but whenever I go to my favorite restaurant, Tokyo Joe's, I always pick up extra chopsticks because I use them to stir my little cocktails that I make with my serums and my face creams, and it just helps save on product. So when you're mixing them, and this is kind of aside from the foundation, but when you're mixing your serums and your moisturizers and whatever you're going to apply to your skin, you're using such a small amount, and then you're adding, you know, that other little small amount of whatever. You can mix however many you need to, as long as they don't, you know, counteract each other. And so I use those chopsticks as a little mixer, and then I just, you know, put it on my face and then put it on. But when you're mixing your foundation, you can do the same thing. Just, you know, squeeze some foundation, put a little drop of whatever you're trying to add to it, and then just stir it up, and there you have it. Even mixing shades, that's a good idea to do. I did not correct my under eyes, and I normally correct my under eyes before I do my foundation. I look kind of orangey. Wow. I mean, as I'm sitting here, it doesn't look orange, but more on the camera, it definitely looks orange. So we'll just go with it. And I'm going to use my Becca under eye brightener in light to medium. Oh, you can see it really good there. So yeah, this is a really good, you know, I can't say enough good things about this under eye brightener, dark circle, concealer. Camouflages those dark circles. You can see the difference in this eye. Add a little bit more where it's super dark. And you really only need a small amount. And I'm really not getting that much on my brush, because a little bit does go a long way. You can use your finger, you know, just to tap it, to press it in further. I would use my finger to put it on, but my nails are so long that it's just easier for me to do it the other way. But pressing it on after you use the brush is also good. It just helps it to further stay in place. Do you ever like look at your face when you're like making videos, or when you're just, you know, doing your makeup, and like the faces that we make? Like, how is doing that gonna make my under eyes look better, or helps to put it on? That's my mascara face. That's my under eye face. Like when I play back what I did, I'm like, oh, why did you make that face? Like, that looked horrible. But at that point, it's kind of too late. So I'm going to now, I think I'm going to use my Makeup Revolution concealer again, because this is what I have at my little station, and I don't want to have to jump off and get a different concealer. But I really like this concealer. It's the Conceal and Define, and I have it in C5. So I'm going to just add a little bit here, not a ton, because it is pretty creamy. And again, aging skin, fine lines, creasing. Yeah, I'm going to bring it down a little bit more on my nose. I really like a highlighted under eye. I mean, not stark white, but in here you can also clean up your edge. I have different ways of cleaning up my edges, so you may like see me do one way and then another way, but if you have more than, you know, one or two ways to do something, do it. Switch it up. And sometimes it works better, you know, in one way than it does the other. So we just try, you know, trial and error. I hope everybody's having a good week so far. It's Wednesday. Oh, today's Thursday. You know, I lose track of days. When I was working, I knew what day it was. Like, we would count down. I'm sure everybody who works knows that you count down like, oh, is it Friday yet? Is it Friday yet? And then I was like, one day I was like, you know, we're in such a hurry for Friday to come. Like, we're just losing time, and time is passing by so fast. And why are we in such a big hurry to get through our life? Like, life is short enough as it is, but I mean, I know it's just realistically people are tired and they, you know, want Friday to come. They can have their little social time or just to rest, family time. You get very little family time when you're working. Obviously, I know that. So now I'm going to go in with my Naked Skin Urban Decay in Fair because I like to highlight with that. And just putting a little on my chin, a little there, and my creases. Bring it down a little. Actually, I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. Let's see if that makes a difference. I haven't done it this way, so let's see if that makes a difference in how deep these little creases are. I'm going to put a little on my forehead. And also, again, right here where it's super dark, kind of bringing it around in that area where I'm going to put the highlight. I will put some down the bridge of my nose, but I'll do that when I'm done blending this. And a lot of times what I'll do is if I have like too much product, which is why I like to use the sponge for this part, and it's also hydrating, and it'll pick up any excess product that you have too much of. So then what I'll do is, because it's so sensitive around your nose as far as getting the product on your nose and blend it out without moving your foundation and everything around underneath. So then what I'll do is, because I use the sponge and it's full of this light concealer, I like to do a brush on my forehead when I'm blending out. For some reason, I just like it a little bit better when I'm blending out that highlight, because it kind of just irons out those little creases and you can really tell the difference. And then just kind of going with your little brush and work out anything that you see that didn't get blended right. It's also good for getting in this inner part of your eye. You want to make sure you get that covered. I don't know about everybody else, but I know I have this vein. I have this vein here, and then I've got the vein over here. So I've got a lot of bluish colors to conceal. So if you can see that concealer highlighted with the Becca Under Eye Brightening, and it just gives you a real brightening effect. My foundation looks super orange, and I think this does oxidize a little bit, but not really much we can do about that right now since this is what I put on. I can go in with some powder. I don't want to add too much powder because I don't want it to become cakey. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set my foundation using my Rimmel Stay Matte Translucent Powder. And I'm going to try to put a little extra powder on without it looking too dusty, I don't know, powdery, because I still want that luminosity. And sometimes we lose that when we set it with powder, but you can use a dewy setting spray. And And again, I think I said in my last video, I'll probably say it multiple times because not everybody sees every video, but I like to just tap it in the middle of my brows because I tend to always make them a little bit darker here, and this kind of just lightens up that. And I'm using the stippling brush, the big stippling brush. It's just easier for me to set. And if you want to swirl, you can, because it's really soft. It's not dense, so it's not going to tug on your skin. And we want the least amount of tugging as possible. We don't want to stretch out our skin any more than it's already stretching. So, okay, now that I did that, I'm going to lightly contour, or not contour, but bronze. And I think today I'm going to use my Real Techniques. This is just, it's just a Real Techniques, kind of a round dome brush. It's pretty soft. It's dense, but not too dense. And I think it's going to be perfect for bronzing. And I'm not going to contour today because this is I'm going out on the road to run errands using my butter bronzer. I just love this. Just going along the perimeter of my face, going towards my hairline. And remember, if you get foundation or bronzer in your hairline, you just get your little makeup wipe or a washcloth and, you know, just wipe up and get that off your hair so you're not going out looking crazy. I probably shouldn't add too much bronzer because this foundation is a little bit darker than, I think I'm going to pick up a light. It's super light in the bottle. Like, it doesn't look like, well, it's so weird because on camera it looks really dark, but in front of me it's super light. So then I'm going to go in on the sides here and just circular, kind of going up, flicking it up around my apples of my cheeks. And you don't always have to contour. I mean, you can just bronze, you know? Bronze to the gods. I put a little on my lower lip. It gives you a fuller, bigger, juicier lip than I have. I have pretty small lips, but it's weird because they're small, but, you know, if I do like that motion, then they're bigger. So maybe I could just walk around like that. Put a little on the chin to give the illusion that my chin is shorter. And this also gives the illusion our jaw is a little bit shorter. We want the illusions, right? It's makeup. We're dressing up. It's like we're putting on a costume. So you can really do whatever you want to do. If you want to wear a blue eye and a green eye and, you know, use pink lipstick, you know, you do whatever you want to do. So I'm just kind of stamping that on the side of my nose. I did this in my last video, and I had like a ton of product on the side of my nose, but that's where you can get your beauty sponge or your brush, whatever you're using for your foundation, and just go in and tap on it with that. You know, if you have too much product, you can just tap it and it'll lift a little bit of that. So it gives you kind of a contoured nose, chiseled, without actually contouring. So yeah, so that's that. It's going a lot faster than yesterday. Was crazy. Yesterday was not good. And I guess you shouldn't really record if you're not really feeling it. Like, I mean, you don't want to get in a rut where you're just like, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing this today. But, you know, if you're really running into some technical issues or anything, you know, just don't record that day. Do it when your heart's in it, when you're really feeling it, and, you know, just don't record that day. So I'm going to add some highlight Using this little domed fluffy brush, again, I think from TJ Maxx or Ross, Marshalls. They're all the same. So I'm going into the Tarte palette of highlights, and again, it's chocolate and they're beautiful, they're pigmented, and I'm going in with that daylight color, and I'm going to just put it on the high points of my cheek, coming around to about the middle of my eyebrow. And it has a great mirror. I don't want to put it too far down here because of the texture and the creases. I just want it to be on the high points. And doing the same on this side. Not bad. I'm going to go in now with this skylight, and actually I'm just going to use my finger. It's pretty icy. Tap off a little bit of that, and I'm going to just put some on the tip of my nose. Using your ring finger that has the lightest touch, but if you put too much, you might have to either take it off with your finger by bouncing it on there, or just get your beauty sponge again and then just picking up that product. And I'm going to put some on the bridge of my nose. I have enough on my finger to be able to do both. And I think I can also do my Cupid's bow. Put a tiny bit on my chin. Because again, texture, it's not pretty, okay? And because I am wearing a shirt, like I said before, if my collarbones are showing, I will get some of this Spotlight, because it's kind of like a body shade color, and it's just pretty for your all over body. This candlelight's super pretty too, but I'm going to take some of that and apply it to my collarbones, and it just really makes them stand out. It's just super pretty. I'll put a little bit on my chest if I have, you know, a lower top, and then my shoulders and my back, like I told you in my last video, just because it gives you, you know, a pretty highlight in places that you wouldn't expect to highlight. So next I'm going to go in using the same palette and using this pencil brush. Again, I think it's from Amazon, going into that skylight and going into the inner corner of my eye. This is my favorite thing. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love doing this. I mean, it just really opens up your eye. Oh my gosh. I just think it's gorgeous, and it really gives, it's gorgeous in any look, even a no makeup, but you add a little bit of highlight and bam, I mean, you have a look. Isn't that just beautiful? And right here is where I'm going to add my brows. Sometimes I forget to do this step if I'm recording a video. So I'm going to go back into that daylight and go under my brow. You want to tap off that excess so you don't get it all in your eyebrow, because it is your highlight and you don't really want that in your eyebrow. You can always brush it out using a brow. What am I looking for? Like a brow gel. You could always cover up the powder that gets on our face. I like to just take my damp beauty sponge and just kind of like lightly go over. And I just like to bring it down a little bit without having to go in with the blending brush. And if you don't do this, you can just go in with your little blending brush and just kind of work it around so that that transition shade and that highlight kind of just meet up, kind of cross over, hold hands. So there is that. I'm looking super orange. I mean, I'm looking like Willy Wonka. Oh my God. There's really no way to lighten this up. And it could be just the camera and just the lighting that I'm sitting in, but I don't know. So now what I'm going to do is take off any foundation or powder that got on my lips using my makeup wipe. You can use a towel, whatever works. And just carefully taking that off because I don't want to take off the foundation on my lip or on my, you know, around my mouth. Again, probably an ugly face I'm making. Like, kind of creepy. Okay, so I'm not going to use an actual lipstick or a lip balm or a lip, well, this is a lip gloss. This is the Urban Decay, the Naked, and it's Roll 34, and I'm assuming that's the color. It's kind of like a nudie, I don't know, a nude, if you could see that. It's really pretty, and it's got a nice little applicator. I've had this for quite a while, but it is one of my favorites. And I don't know how I always forget to use it because it is a favorite. There's so many, I guess, that some get lost, you know, in transition. So I'm going to just put this on without any lip liner, without any lipstick, and just use this as my lip shade for the day. It does have, it's a little like, oh, like mint, but I think like plasticky. I mean, it's not horrible. You can't smell it when you're wearing it. And you definitely have to reapply if you're eating. Doesn't stay. But with glosses, you can just keep reapplying. Like, it's not like lipstick where, you know, it dries out and then you got like that crusty middle part that looks really disgusting. I really love this. Oh, isn't that just so pretty? See my lips? It seems like when I wear lipstick, it makes my lips look smaller unless I overline. And sometimes I just don't line, but I'm noticing I don't really like lipstick on my lips unless I've, you know, have the time to sit down and line them and shape them. Other than that, I use lip balms, lip glosses, and I'm going to do a video of my October favorites since we are still in the month of November and they still are my favorites, but that way I can have a whole video dedicated to my favorites and what I love. So, okay, got the lip gloss on. I'm going to I didn't add any blush and I need blush. So I'm going to, don't know what I did with my blush brush, but, here it is. I like to use a stippling brush, the smaller stippling brush for blush, or just a soft, you know, a soft brush, angled brush, round brush, whatever works for you, whatever gets your blush on. And I didn't grab a blush. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm going in with the It Cosmetic Bye Bye Pores in the shade Sweet Cheeks, and it's really a pretty kind of apricot, what is the word I'm looking for? And I just can't seem to find that word that describes this color. And I'm just going to lightly blending it into like upward. And I'm not going to smile because when you smile and you have blush on, when you let your cheek go down, your blush comes down here. So I just like to tap it on. And this really doesn't emphasize your pores, which is good. You can like use a little more. And then I just kind of blend it into my highlight and foundation. And that's why I like to do my, my highlight and my bronzer. And that's why I like to do this step after, because if I have too much highlight on, you can always just kind of blend it in further. So that's a really pretty cheeky, it is what it says, sweet cheeks, and I really love it. It's one of my go-tos among the hundreds of other blushes that we use. I'm not going to put anything on my lower lash line because again, I don't really need to. And but actually, you know what, I'm going to, just for video's sake, and it'll look pretty. So I mean, it's a win-win. I'm just going to go in with this. Let's see, where is this brush from? It's just a flat eyeliner brush, and it's kind of similar to the last brush that I used, the Morphe. I don't know where I got this from, but I'm going to go in with, since I've got that orange up in here, I'm going to use that crushing orange again. I'm going to tap into that and go ahead and just tap off a little excess on my table. Generally, I don't like to do this, but I can clean my table off. And I'm just going to go under my eye and just kind of stamp that. Going not quite all the way to my tear duct, but just about 3/4 of the way. And it just kind of brings out the orange that's on your, you know, your transition orange, or right above the root beer color. And that's all I'm going to do on that. I am going to use that little fluffy brush to kind of just diffuse the line underneath. Kind of blend that little area. I didn't set my eyes yet. I'm going to set them. Isn't this the most adorable little mirror? My daughter got me this for my birthday, and it's just like a little table mirror, but it's miniature. Like, it's just a tiny little mirror, and I love it. And it's got bling on it, so anything bling and rose gold I love. So what I'm going to do is put some mascara on my lower lash line using the same Superhero mascara. And where did he go? There he is. So I'm just going to put a thin coat, a very thin coat, on my lower lash line. I've got pretty long lashes on my lower lash line. My eyelashes actually used to, they're not too short, but they're not as long as they used to be before I got extensions. And I wore those for about a year off and on, getting them refilled. But then, you know, your real when the eyelash falls off, your eyelash falls off with it, your natural eyelash. So I just decided, you know what, sometimes I want to wear lashes and sometimes I don't. So when you have the extensions on, you don't have the option to wear lashes that day. And I really like to be able to, when I'm washing my face, like just get in and scrub my eyes. So to not be able to do that is just like, I just want to scrub my eyes. But you have to be super careful with lash extensions. So there's that. I didn't set my under eye, which I'm going to do right now with the least amount of powder because I am super dry under there, working out any of the product that settled in my fine lines. And I do think I'm going to be getting fillers within this next year. I'm trying to hold off as long as I can, but like this is probably the worst area as far as wrinkles go. I mean, I try really hard to take care of my skin. So, okay, blending out those harsh fine lines where the concealer settled. And then I'm going to just use my sponge. I'm not going to use a brush because I don't want any sweeping brush strokes under my eye. and using that same Rimmel translucent powder and tapping into it with my beauty sponge. It's my Real Technique sponge. I really like these sponges. And then just taking that and kind of shaking off the excess. And I like to start from the outer to the inner. And I should have done this before I did my mascara, but kind of backwards today. And there's no rules. I have to keep emphasizing that there are no rules. Taking some more on this side. And kind of you want to put it where you put your concealer. I'm going to put some there because I did not highlight my nose with that concealer. So just to kind of give it a lighter in the middle of my forehead where I added that concealer. Anywhere where I put that highlight concealer. And again, I don't want to make it too powdery. And we can always, you know, add more product later on. So there you have it. A no makeup. Okay, this is not a no makeup look. It's not even that. So I'm going to go ahead and just set my face using my Milani Make It Dewy because I did use so many, so much, my skin just feels really thirsty and dry today. So this to me, the makeup, the Milani Make It Dewy is almost a dupe for the Tarte Ready Set Radiant. I love this, and this smells amazing. Like you could wear this as a perfume, or I would. But this is also really good. Make It Dewy. It's a 16-hour wear setting spray. Just have to be careful when you're spraying your spray, especially if you haven't used it in a while and you go to spray your face and then it kind of just shoots everywhere. You have to be really careful with that. So I always do a squirt. I know it's wasting product, but it's just ensuring. And this really is like, I don't know, maybe $7, if that. So, and it's got a real fine mist. And I like to set my neck because I do add product down there. And if you get any little spots of spurts of the setting spray, you can just get your beauty sponge or blender and just tap that excess. And just for shits and giggles, I'm going to add a little bit of the Tarte Ready Set Radiant because I don't know if you can see the dewiness from that Milani, but let's see if this changes it. And I think it's going to. Love it. Love it. Oh, if you don't have this, you guys, you need to get this. This has really been a game changer for me. I love it. I got my daughters each a bottle, and 2 of them love it, and the other one didn't really care for it, so she gave me her bottle, which is awesome because I've got like 2 backups, and I like to pick stuff that I really like. I like to pick up, obviously, multiple of, because you never know when they're gonna like stop making something, or you know, and you run out. So that's not ever fun. You can always find a duplicate, but we want what we want, right? So with that being said, yeah, so this is the final look. I truly hope you guys were able to pick some tips up, and hopefully I don't look too orange. And yeah, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day, rest of your week. It's almost Friday. This is what, Friday Junior. So yeah, do something fun. Do something fun for yourself. You know, take time out. If you're super busy, just take 5 minutes alone, even if you have to go in the bathroom, and just breathe deep and just know that you're loved. And like I said, I'm excited to put these videos out for you guys and to be able to interact and just give you some good content, quality stuff. So yeah, leave your comments down below, and your ideas on what you would like to see in the future, whether it be makeup or real life stuff. Yeah, like I'm here to chit chat about anything and everything. So please give this video a thumbs up.